Hey everybody, Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T talking with Felice Herrig, who is finally back in action, thank goodness, at UFC 252, taking on Virna Jandiroba. And listen, Felice, it's just like, it feels like it's been forever. How good does it feel for you to have a fight week again?
Oh my gosh, I know. It has been forever. It feels like so amazing. I mean, I've been fighting for 17 years and this is the longest layoff, but it really made me miss it.
Right.
And I think sometimes, we get stuck in whatever we're doing, and when you first start something, you love it, and then it becomes more of a job.
Right.
Years, it's just like so monotonous.
Yes.
I really like not being able to train or fight and watching watching the fights go on, like watching everything go on around me. I was like, oh my God, I miss it so much. I love it so much. I just want to be there again.
Right. Well, that's what I was wondering, because it's been a while. Like, I saw you last summer in Minneapolis, right? You were there and you were on your crutches then.
Yeah. I don't even know why I went. That was like 2 weeks after surgery.
Because I think you were a guest fighter and we were like, this is awkward. I felt so bad just trying to watch you walk across the hotel lobby, and everybody was like, oh, poor Felice. And then it was like, well, she's here. She's got a teammate. And you were just there. And I was like, it's great to see you. This seems like a lot of work though.
It was so much work. I think I was just embracing it. Like, plus it was right after surgery, and
Yeah.
it all thing that like kept my mind, like, you're taken away from the sport too, because the rehab process is so, you have to stay up with it. So a lot of my traveling like stopped. I wasn't really in the scene as much. So I kind of just wanted to be around, my peers.
Right.
It like make me feel good. And it actually did, because like Junior Dos Santos was there. I talked to Dominic Cruz's coach, but like they both went through ACL surgery.
Right.
So it actually helped me a lot, because they gave me tips. They, kind of encouragement, like, oh, it'll get better. You'll be,
Right.
They fought again, And I think too, it's almost like being a fighter. It's good to talk to other fighters. Like when you're going through something, it's good to talk to somebody who knows, who's been there.
Yeah.
And so other fighters who have been in my situation helped me a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine that it would, because you get that feedback. You can get maybe an idea of a time frame and everything. So how, it's interesting because obviously you had that all ready to go, and then the COVID thing hits, right? So I believe you guys were scheduled to fight a little sooner, right? But then, no, you weren't able to, right?
Actually, I had a lot of complications with my surgery. Not necessarily complications, but I was having all this pain in like this area, which is like where they did the microfracture.
Right,
so they your shin. But doctors, therapists, nobody could tell me why I was having all that pain.
Right.
And try different things. I made sure I got the scar tissue worked out. I got the cupping. I did dry healing. I like a lot just wasn't helping. I got another MRI. Then it said you have a bone contusion. Like so much kept going on. And so during the COVID was right before I found out I had a bone contusion. So I kind of had to take off anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's a weird mix, because it's like, oh, in order for your knee to get better and get strong so you can do what you need to do, you need to, train, do your therapy, make it stronger.
Right.
With a bone contusion, the only way to get rid of it is to rest. So finding the happy medium of like, and I found it. I would sometimes I would train really hard for like 2 days straight, and then I pain and it would be like inflamed, and then I have to take a day, lighter day. Like it was just finding that happy medium it sucked.
Well, and I would wonder too, how much not even just during the COVID part of it and thinking that you're close to coming back and then finding that contusion, but just in general, as you mentioned it, you wanted to be around your peers at some point. Like you miss it. You see your buddy Carla is crushing it right now, right? And so I was really happy for her to get the win over there in Fight Island. And I know she's fought Virna before, but like I'm thinking to you to be sidelined for so long, you know, with everybody doing it during COVID, it's one thing, right? Because you're just like, well, the world is shut down, but you had to watch basically like 2 years go by, and your division is so exciting, and it is one that everybody watches. And I really wonder how you kept just not only, you know, physically, you know, doing what you can, but just like mentally, because you know, I felt bad watching my teammates at work and I wasn't working. Like, I know that had to be really hard.
It was really hard, especially from a friendship standpoint, because
Yeah.
the years I've developed a lot of friends in the sport. Like Carla Esparza is my best friend, and watching her fight, it was like that like the being supportive, but also being like sad, you know.
Right.
So that was rough. She honestly, like there was a period of time where I just didn't watch fights at all. The only fights like I would watch is like, oh, if Carla was fighting,
Right.
her fight. But I did find an outlet. I wrote a children's book.
Which is so cool, which I love. Well, I saw that you were teasing it a little bit on Instagram, and if you could kind of give some context here, right? Because you come from a very artistic family, right? Like, I feel like you were putting some things out of your dad's work, and my mind was blown away. And then you're like, yeah, but we're also doing a book together. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, well, okay, so yeah, I've always been very artistic, but I get it. 'Cause both my parents are artistic, but
Right.
my dad has this like gift, like this raw gift. For like, if you've ever seen it, he has an Instagram, at Kirk Herrig Art.
Okay.
If
Right.
any, he's amazing. I made him start it, but
Good.
when the book was coming out,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
my brother died. My brother passed away when I was 7,
Right.
and my dad, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's correlation, but I'm pretty sure it is. Like, he was, you know, depressed,
Of
sad.
course.
He hadn't drawn since then. So my dad hasn't drawn in like 25 years.
Wow.
So
Wow.
whole quarantine thing, or during my whole knee injury, like I had this idea for a children's book that my ring name is Little Bulldog,
Yep.
a cartoon character of a bulldog, and she gets injured. She slips and she hurts her leg,
Yeah.
knee, whatever. She's a boxer, and
Nice.
really sad that she can't do what she loves.
Right.
All of her little animal friends help her. Like, she goes to this, she goes and she learns to make chocolate with her friend the bunny, who has a
Nice.
shop. She learns sign language with a caterpillar named Coda.
Right.
Um, does all with all her animal friends, and she just learns, you know, perseverance, that
Right.
there's other things in life. So it's lemons to lemonade, and then at the end, she's back doing what she loves, which is
Nice.
fighting. She's a boxer, so in the end, you see her back in the ring. But I really wanted I knew that I had this idea for the book, but
Yep.
there's nobody I would want to do the illustrations other than my dad.
Right.
And during the quarantine, because I just bought a house in December, I convinced
Nice.
him to draw with me. And he didn't really want to, but he promised me he would. And
Right.
so he came over and he's like, give me a piece of paper, give me a pencil. And he started drawing. And of course, his go-to is like, oh, I'm going to draw a spider with a penis. Like,
Right.
that's the first thing he draw. And I'm like, whatever, you going, Dad.
Right. All right, Dad.
Like, ever since then, he just couldn't stop drawing. And so I was like, I approached him about doing the book, and then we went over character ideas, and, you know, he's like, do you like this? Do you like that? I'm like, that, you know, we designed the book, all the animals, and we made a book.
And so where can people buy it? Is it?
You can actually get it on Amazon. You can get it on Barnes and Nobles. There's like other retailers too, but those are the big. And on my Instagram, I have a link in my bio.
It's really cool. And the thing is, and I don't know if I'm totally off base, but when I first saw some of the stuff that he drew, it was like that Harry Crumb type style, right?
Yes. Okay. The underground comics. And that's like his like original like creations. Like that's what's so great about his illustrations is like he came up with this extinct superheroes, and he drew this, like, Dad, that's awesome, I love it. And he's like, okay, I'll keep, and like, he's like, what do you want me to draw next? What do you want me to draw next? And we came up with ideas, and he did like a buff Santa Claus and like a Dr. COVID with a mask.
That's so cool about it is you were able to kind of reignite a passion in your father, right? Because you're saying he hasn't really drawn since your brother passed. So as sad as that is, what a great way for you guys to bond and like bring that love back.
It's amazing because my dad, he probably only got a cell phone like a few years ago, and he never text or calls, or we here and there will text each other, but but now he's sending me drawings, and he's like, what about this? And he's like, I drew another line. I'm like, Dad, like it gets annoying, but it's cute, and I love it that he's always sending me drawings and like his ideas. On the second book, we're already halfway done with the second book. So
that's awesome. Well, hopefully the story too will be of, your comeback, right? Because you have a tough fight ahead of you. And I mentioned that Carla has fought Virna before. I don't know if you spoke to her about it. I mean, things are so different now, right? Like you could be a totally different fighter. And I think about that sometimes when people come back from a long layoff. A lot of time people are like, oh, what's Felice going to do because the opponent this and the opponent that? It's like, well, also at the same time, you could have reinvented yourself, right? So you could be a totally different person as well. So I guess, what should we look for? What should we expect?
Well, and I feel like I am completely reinvented. I at a different gym now, so I've been working a lot more on like wrestling. I know, jiu-jitsu's good, but who are most of the champions in the UFC are wrestlers,
Yeah.
My striking again too, a lot more output.
Yeah.
I felt like my gym actually closed with COVID too,
Okay.
but it was also like it was a good thing for me to move forward in my career as far as changing gyms, just because over the years, like I used to be at an MMA gym, and over the years it was like turned into just a jiu-jitsu gym. So every time I fight, I would have to fly in coaches, I'd have to fly in partners. So I didn't feel like I could constantly evolve like all year round.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at a place to where I want, like, I can keep evolving and growing and take a short minute fight. Cause like, that's what I do. I want to fight like as consistent as possible, as much as possible, always be in shape, always be ready. I'll fight on Saturday. I'll fight again the next week. Like that's what I do. So I think I've just reinvented myself and remotivated myself as a person, as a fighter. And I think too, people always underestimate me. They think like that, oh, Felice Herrig is going to be the last fighter we saw. And but I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm very athletic. So I'm always constantly evolving, and constantly like, what do I need to work on? What do I need to get better on? What are my strengths, my weaknesses? So, and at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just so happy I'm going to be back into fighting.
Yes.
Like coming off of an injury, I'm like, hey, I'm here. My coach, says, shoot the gun you have. So I'm going to work with what I have. I'm going to shoot the gun I have.
I love it. That's a great way to look at it for sure. So who will be in your corner this time then?
So I have a Valley full striking. So I have Mike Valley, Dimitri Willis, and then I have Caroline. She's my main training partner. So,
nice.
Just a completely new corner, completely new outlook on just fighting in general. Just from the injury, the time off, the new gym, everything is just, and COVID has opened people's eyes to like what's really important too, because a lot of people can't even compete in their sport. So lucky and blessed, as UFC fighters that we still are given the opportunity to compete. So I'm just thankful for that in itself.
Absolutely. No, it's totally true. And you see it, like over in Fight Island or even just, at the Apex shows, you feel that from all the fighters, how thankful they are to have a job, to have an opportunity. Like everybody there, all of us are just like, yeah, we know. And there's a lot of people that are like really stressed out and working the Contender Series and this and that, but they're like, everybody's like, yeah, we're not going to complain about it right now because we're just so lucky to even have a job.
Exactly. I mean, so many people, the economy's turned upside down, and this is like one of the only sports that's consistently going.
I know.
picked the right sport. I knew it.
Absolutely. You did. And you know what? I just, before we wrap it up, I just want to say for people who don't know, so Felice gave this to us a long time ago. God, I feel like we were at we did an interview at like the Fitness Expo or something ages and ages and ages ago.
The Ultimate Fighter was Tough Talk.
Oh, okay. It's from the Tough House, right? But I'm saying yeah, okay. So you gave me this on Tough, but yeah, the first time we met was a long time ago. But yes, you're right. Tough 20 on the back here. So great. So she lives in the hallway. She's always like sitting right in the hall. Oh, so we pass her every day.
That's so great. I wish I had a camera holding her like that.
It's great. It's great. Well, listen, we're really excited to have you back. It has been way, 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 way too long. People should remember that you had a 4-fight win streak. You know what I mean? This is a woman who knows how to throw down. I know, like I was saying, your division has a lot of buzz on it, but I think it's just great that there's so many girls for you to fight now and that you're back and healthy, and just nice to see you back in business.
Thank you. I know. I'm so happy.
Cool. Well, keep your hands up and yeah, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Great. Thanks, Karyn.